I want to share 5 tips for you to safely train in your sport or your exercise in these hot and humid conditions. I'm Dr. David, orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine specialist, and author of That's Gotta Hurt, The Injuries That Change Sports Forever. And I provide education, information, and commentary on all sorts of sports and exercise, injuries and injury treatments and injury prevention for athletes and active people so that you can stay healthy and perform your best. Okay, tip number 1 that I would recommend is that you basically train in different parts of the day. In some of the parts of the country, it's over 90 degrees, maybe 100 degrees with really humid conditions. Well, training at 3 in the afternoon or at 5 in the afternoon after work, probably not the best idea if you can help it. So maybe you get up early and you run or do your training at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning before it's gotten hot. Or maybe you do it at 7 or 8 at night after the sun's gone down. If you can adjust your schedule, that would be the first thing I'd try. Tip number 2, go inside. I know the runners watching this may not really appreciate that. But if you like to run, go inside and do it on a treadmill. Depending on what you train, what type of sport, that may not necessarily be possible. But if it is possible, getting out of the sun, out of the hot, humid conditions, I certainly would try that. Okay, tip number 3, use the summer months to cross-train and try some sort of activity that maybe won't be as big of a deal in the heat. So if you like to run, maybe use the summer months to lift weights or to swim or use a rowing machine or something like that. And again, maybe not every day, and I'm a big fan of cross-training anyway, but maybe you do less of the training in the hot and humid conditions, out in the sun, out in the heat, and you do more indoors or somewhere where it's not quite as overwhelming. So cross-training is another important one. The 4th and 5th tips go sort of hand in hand. On one hand, you have to get used to the heat slowly. So early in the summer, you gradually increase the amount of time you're exposed to those hot and humid conditions, and then as you get better with it, you're out there for longer periods of time. And then the 5th tip along with that is to basically build your cardiovascular conditioning before you work on getting used to the heat, the humidity. So one of the things that we see a lot of times, especially with football players training for summer football practice, is they're out of shape and not used to the heat, and so they're trying to get both of those back early in summer football practice. Part of the reason you have these issues with exertional heat stroke. So what I say is early in the summer, get indoors, start working on your cardio conditioning, running and that type of thing. Build that up, and then start increasing your exposure to the hot and humid conditions once your cardiovascular conditioning and stamina and everything else are better. So I've recorded a video about how you can basically get ready for the hot and humid conditions with football practice, but this one really applies to really anything you love to do. Now, do you like training in the heat, and how do you do it? Do you go inside? Do you switch your activities? I'd love to hear your experience. So below this video, share what you do so that we can all learn from each other, we can all get ideas. If you like videos like this, I record a couple of these videos on sports and exercise injuries and injury treatments and injury prevention every single week. And if you subscribe by clicking the button in the upper right corner of my YouTube page, they'll get delivered directly to you. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'd love to hear your tips for training in these hot and humid conditions, and I look forward to seeing you right here next time.